Christian Carpenter here with Everything Residential and Commercial. This is part 1 of building a pool house casita. If you guys have any questions, make sure you leave a comment and subscribe. So we are starting from a blank slate. This is all the landscape rock that was there existing, some landscape lights. Now we're going to remove all that rock, put it to the side, and start digging our trenches. Now as you can see right here, once we dug our trenches for the footings, there's a bunch of pool pipes in the way. That big one right there wasn't even being used, so we got to remove it. Once we relocated a lot of the pipes, we've got some plywood over it for safety for the children, and we put some string lines up, and then we got our plumbers in there to do all the rough plumbing. And they tied it into the front yard going all the way down the side and tied it into the main right there. You can see the trenches they dug. Now, as you can see right here with that string line, our footer goes at a 45 because there's a bunch of pool pipes in the way and we can't relocate these. As you can see right here, here's all the pool pipes in the way. So we're going to talk about this probably in a couple minutes here. But as you can see, we rerouted the footer to go around and we had to get our engineer involved. Here's after the footers have been poured. We got all our number 4 rebar doweled into it. We wet set all of it, and it's probably a foot into the concrete and then 2 feet out so it can tie the slab on top into it. As we were forming the board on top, we were using tap cons to hold it in, and we got some water coming out. Look at that. So we had to get that repaired, opened it up, did a telephone repair because it kind of looks like a telephone. But back to what I was talking about here. As you can see, the footer goes at an angle, and then we have a concrete lintel. So we had this all engineered. The building goes right there, but there's pipes underneath. So what we did was we got an engineer involved, created this concrete lintel, and that way we can transfer the load to the footers. And here's kind of what it looks like with the engineer notes. There's like 3 or 4 more pages, but this is essentially what it looks like. After all that, we got ready for concrete, moved all the rock to the side, got some of my landscaper buddies to come out and get the rock on the side. That way it's a little bit easier before the building's built, and we can move some of that rock. Now it's concrete time. Concrete is some tough work and it's a big part of the project. But one of the coolest parts of the project is framing. Nathan and myself framed this out, and what we had to do, because the pool was so close to that side wall, we actually had to build it like at an angle and then drag it over and put it in place. And we actually didn't do all the studs because it was so heavy. So we came back and like re-nailed the studs. But once that was all built, we put sheathing around it. We got our bracing all in place to secure it. I hate when I see builders do stuff without bracing, and it can be dangerous and catastrophic. But now we're all ready for trusses. We finished up these top plates and we're gonna get ready for trusses. Let's show you what happened here. Okay, so now we're gonna put trusses up on top. Take a quick span around, you can see we framed it all out. We didn't put the sheeting up above there because we wanted to tie into the trusses. Here's how we're gonna install the trusses. We have a diagram here from the truss manufacturer, and it says D1, then D2, 2, 2, 2, 2, D2, and then it goes E1 in the order like that. So what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna be up there, Nate's gonna carry trusses to me, and they're not that big. Let me take a look here. Like here's our first set right here. As you can see, they're like little baby trusses. So he's gonna throw it up to me, and I'm gonna start installing them. And Nate's pre-cutting 22.5-inch blocks. So we put the first one up, put blocks in, next one up, and we can kind of just go right in a row with it. But it's gonna be Nate's job to read the number and then bring me the correct truss. And he's gonna bring it up to me, I'm gonna install them, and we're gonna go all the way down. That's kind of how it's gonna work. All right, so we got pretty much all the trusses up behind me. You can see here. I want to show you a couple details that the truss manufacturer made a mistake, but there's also something on the existing roof of how we're gonna show you how it's gonna look. So if you can see right here, the peak of these sets of trusses is supposed to line up with the back peak over there. You can see that right there. It's supposed to line up, so it's one peak line, but they made it so it's like a little short. Good thing is that it's all the same plane. So the peak is gonna have a transition down like this. Kind of like that right there. So you'll have like, imagine a peak over here, it will transition down and keep going like that. And it's gonna be a very small transition, probably like 1 or 2 pieces of tile. That's what it's gonna look like. Another thing is, I don't know how this is supposed to be, but let me show you. Let me climb up here. Okay, you can see this peak of these trusses all line up right here. However, if you look closely, the very last one is off by about 2 or 3 inches, and it lines up perfectly on the wall on the placement side of where it should go. It has to go right there. Can't go anywhere else, or else it'll stick over and be too short. So that one's off, and we're gonna have to curve the plywood or do something to make it look right. One of the coolest parts about being a framer is you get to crawl around, you get paid good money, and it's kind of like being a kid back in the day when you got to just crawl around on the jungle gym, especially those old school jungle gyms like in the 70s and 80s where it was like humongous jungle gym structures. But essentially what we're building up there is like a sniper's nest. It's like a video game Call of Duty player's dream to camp up there. And but as you can see, it's going to be a flat roof right there. It's kind of how the design worked with that awkward angle pop out of the structure, but you can't even tell it's up there with the parapet wall and the stucco. We actually had the frame crew come out and, you know, we called in for some reinforcements. They had an extra day, so we said, come on out, help us out, do the overframing, put some extra plywood up or sheathing wherever you can do it, and they make it look so easy. Look at this, they get their ridge beam up there. Just, they're saucy with it. Here's kind of their framer setup. They have that big compressor that feeds into this big tank, and then I need to ask them why they do that. But they have this thing that feeds into this tank, and it's actually relatively quiet. And there's like 6 or 8 nozzles that feed off of that, and it, you know, goes to all the different framers. They can just crawl all around and get stuff done. But once the framing's all done, then it's going to be time for sheathing everything and get it ready for dry-in, which is a really important stage because it dries everything in, it doesn't get wet. Here's how we tie the existing patio into the structure. We have posts inside there so the patio beam ties into the building, and they just framed out, and we'll drywall right there, put some sheathing up above, and have some L flashing. And this is kind of what you're left with right here. It looks so cool once you're in there. Look at that view of the pool. And look how tall that is. That's gotta be like 20 feet in the air up there. We got the window and door package installed by a third-party company. Really love the choices that the homeowner made on the style of window and the door. This type of door, all panels of the door slide. There's not a stationary panel in it, so that's really, really cool. And it's 9 foot tall. Brings in a lot of natural sunlight. Now check out this stucco detail. This is how the waterproofing works. We got tar paper going up it, and then we have our foam board going on after. This is pretty typical for Arizona stucco. So as you saw in the previous picture, there is tar paper, and it's like Schedule D. It's all up to the code. It abides by the Arizona code. But there's tar paper that wraps all the way around the building in layers, shingle style, all the way up. After they come in with foam, they're lathed, and they nail it in. All corners have this built-up metal corner to help protect it and keep it stabilized. And they just went around the whole building and did it. They tape all the seams. Right where the foam meets, they're taping the seams. So you come over here. On all corners of the windows, they're doing extra mesh for the cracking. So you can see there's a seam of foam, tape. They're doing extra mesh on the corners, tape on the seams, and it really helps prevent cracking. So if you come in here, what's gonna happen is, we're gonna go into electrical and plumbing in a second, but we get the foam up, and then once mechanical's done, we'll hang drywall. And that way they can bang on the drywall, get it in place, and then we'll get that brown coat going. And that's gonna be part 2. So after framing is completed, and we got our roof dried in, because you guys saw those photos, the next part is gonna be mechanical. So everything's dried in, windows are in. Mechanical is gonna be our plumbing, our rough plumbing, as you can see right here, all our wiring, and our HVAC. So first, let's talk about electrical. If you come over here, we have electrical that's running. I don't know if you can zoom in or not, We have electrical, all our home runs are running from through the attic of the existing house, and we have our home runs being ran all throughout. Now, this is a fun stage because we get to talk to the customer and be like, you know, we have the blueprint of where you want the lights, but you know, if you want to move them or do what you want, let's talk about it. So, the electrical design is pretty simple. We got 4 can lights up here for this area right here. We have 2 outlets right here. We have like a desk. You can hang out on the desk. 2 outlets, 1 down below. Over here, you're gonna have 3 can lights as you walk in, and then you have 3 more can lights right here for your for the kitchenette. So here's your entire kitchenette. All the electricians do everything per code, and you can see. And I question you guys. I challenge you guys to find something and leave a comment if you see something wrong with this electricity. But yeah, all the electrical is that. And what else can we talk about here? Oh yeah, check this out. Up above there, there's 4 can lights for the bed. There's gonna be a queen bed up there. So we're gonna have like a nice, cool ladder or like staircase right here. Like a ladder, you climb up, and then you can sleep someone up there. Let's talk about some plumbing. Plumbing is very simple on small projects like this. So let's go into the bathroom and talk about this. As you can see right here, this is our shower. Now we kind of spray painted and we indicated the plumber, if we need to roll it, we can roll it. But this is a Lowe's bucket right here. Those buckets they sell at Lowe's. That way, it's dirt underneath. They can dig it out and roll it and do the things they need to do. And put a P-trap in and all that jazz. I think the P-trap's already underneath there. Secondly is we have an outdoor shower right here. So there's the outdoor shower. We could talk about that. Over here is this shower. We really love using Moen or Delta. I believe this is a Moen valve, but Delta or Moen, they have the multi-choice plates. So we don't have to actually talk to the customer about it. We could just throw these valves in and they can go and pick the type of stuff they want to put on the outside. As you transition over to here, we have our drain for the vanity. So here's our drain. It's going to be a pedestal because it's kind of a small area. Here's our little pedestal. Everything's lined up. We have copper stub outs. Very cool. It's indicated hot and cold. Good job on the plumbers. And it's lined up. It's not all crooked and weird. Everything looks good and uniform. We got it strapped up. We're using our PEX to run it around. Over here's our vent pipe that goes all the way up and vents out the ceiling or out the roof. Oh, watch yourself. And then over here, so check this out. This is a mistake we made, but we kind of got saved. Come over here and look at this. We were anchoring. We needed a bolt for our bottom plate right here. And as we were drilling, we thought we would be good right here, but we ended up nicking the actual drain pipe. Now here's the thing. We actually didn't go through the drain pipe. We just like nicked it, like touched it. And you could feel it in the hammer drill. And when we went up, we saw a little bit of black stuff. We're like, oh no. So we ripped open the concrete and they patched it. However they patched it, they did it. It's totally good. And then yeah, here's our toilet. Comes out to here. It's kind of our branch circuit for plumbing. And that takes care of plumbing. One cool thing though is check out this window. This is like an opaque window. It's for the bathroom. It brings natural light in because it seems kind of small and condensed. But we have some natural light coming in. Very cool windows that got the window. All right, now let's talk about heating and cooling. We have a Daikin, either Daikin or Train. I believe it's Daikin. We have a Daikin base like going right here. We opted to choose this area because when you're out by the pool, you won't see it. And it's a direct shot all the way down. So it can just blow cold air coming all the way down. And as you can see, all the lines run down here and out the wall right here. We're going to end up pouring a little concrete slab up here for the unit itself to sit on. And that's pretty much it. It's very simple. We have a home run for electricity. We're going to head right outside to it right there. So this is part 1 of building the pool house casita. Part 2 is going to be all about insulation, drywall, large format tile, and all like the pretty touches to really make it a complete build. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you leave a comment if you have any questions, subscribe, and as always, have a good day.